Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the channel drownings, the illegal immigrant drownings in the English Channel. These are people who are trying to illegally travel from France to, excuse me, to the English coast illegally, and get all the free stuff that the British government guarantees all illegals who arrive there. So, as I understand it, approximately 30 people, if not more, have drowned, or boats capsized and they're believed drowned. So, that's obviously a tragic event. But as always with these things, the sides immediately line up for the propaganda value of it all. And the propaganda machine in support of mass migration is funded and supported and directed by the globalists, and so is much better funded, much better organised. And within moments of those drownings taking place, the entire propaganda machine and media machine clicked into action. And the talking points were organised and set, and off they went. And you've got to hand it to these guys. They'd make Joseph Goebbels look like some kindergarten punk. I mean, gee whiz, these guys are good. They can settle the talking points. The whole narrative is ready to go, and it's international, and it's within moments. And so I think we all remember, if you don't remember, I suppose 5 years ago, 6 years ago or so, there was a lot of illegals crossing from, I think it was the Turkish coast, and crossing to the Greek islands, and or even onto Greece, as it was at the time. And some of these boats capsized, some of them quite close to the shore, and there was a toddler, or under the age of 5 years old, a kid that drowned and was photographed lying on a beach, the dead body lying on a beach. Now, how it got there to be so perfectly placed for a photograph opportunity, and that this photograph was willfully used by everybody who's promoting the mass migration to the West. It obviously tells you it was propaganda. And if you know, just go and count how many photographs of illegal migrants include small girls, like under the age of 5, wearing pink, and in ponytails and pigtail, that sort of thing. Just have a look at that. Now that's clearly propaganda. Just the random thing, you don't get that as a random, but this is how it looks. So the propaganda goes full bore. And what the argument is at the moment, that the NGOs and all those involved in it, the United Nations, all these sort of people that are heavily promoting the mass migration of black, brown peasants to the West, all these people are saying, well, it's the British government's fault. The fact they've got borders, any sort of border, even though they wave these people in and just give them 4-star hotels and 3 meals a day, free medical, dental, money in their pocket, free mobile phones. Even though the British government does all of that, the British government is still harsh, still hard-hearted. They're still evil and wicked, and they're still oppressors of these helpless black and brown people. Now, if you look at the nationalities of the average person that's crossing the English Channel, they've had to pass through an average of 17 countries, all of which could have provided asylum. So they're clearly not asylum seekers, nor are they refugees. You don't cross through 17 countries to get to somewhere. They're just looking for free stuff. That's all it is. The idea they're looking for a better life, again, that's bullshit. They're just looking for free stuff. And what better life are you going to get when you're illiterate in your own language and you've got no skills or education of any sort? What value can you add? What can you offer to justify a better quality of life? So Now, so they just want to go to countries that can give them lots of free stuff, and Britain, Germany, places like that are the preferred options is where you get the most free stuff. But the same NGOs that work hand in glove with the people smugglers. In fact, these NGOs are themselves people smugglers, most of them, and they're helping these illiterate peasants get from wherever they are in the dark heart of Africa and getting them to England or the West, generally, but England in this case. Those people, none of them are accepting responsibility. But the interesting thing is that the British government will attempt a very weak defence. So it's the people smugglers, but they're not really fighting the culture war at all. They're just issuing a statement saying it's those naughty people smugglers, but nothing is done about it. I mean, how many of these people that arrive in England are interrogated to say, where did you pick up where did you get the boat? Who bought that boat for you? What's the name of it? You've got friends still in France or still in somewhere. Can you get them to photograph these people and send them? So these people aren't. There's no interrogation or questioning of these people. You're getting the information about these people smuggling rings. Now, these people smuggling rings have been in place for years. Yet strangely, Western governments that can root out those evil white supremacists, evil white supremacists. They've got endless resources to chase that down, but somehow they've just got no time, and there's no effort being put into chasing down these people smugglers who are supposedly so evil. But they're phantoms. They don't seem to exist anywhere. No, they clearly do exist. But why is it that Interpol, all the police and law enforcement resources of Britain and France and Germany and Italy and Spain and so on, they just can't find these people smugglers? And yet the people smuggling is about as brazen, as blatant as you can imagine, but somehow they just can't find them to convict them. Now, if you're grabbing people smugglers and putting them in prison for a long time, I'm not sure that many of them would they'd be maybe a bit more cautious about it, or they'd think about it a bit more, but that doesn't seem possible. Now, if you look at the NGOs that are directly involved in assisting these mass people movements, whether it's through Mexico to the United States border, or through Africa up into Europe, or from Middle Asia and East Asia to Europe and Western Europe in particular. If you look at those NGOs, they're all implicated, yet they all have charity status. They have the status of charities in all across Western Europe. Yet they're clearly not charities. They're politically active, and they're engaged in assisting, aiding and abetting the mass movements of illiterate peasants. Now, why are they allowed to keep charity status? Why are they allowed to get government grants and taxpayer handouts? Why are they not being charged? Now, they would argue, well, these people are in the desert. We're only preventing them from, starving, or we're preventing them from dying of thirst out in the middle of the desert when they make this trek. But hey, hold on a minute. You NGO operatives, you're encouraging and inciting these people to go. And you're telling them that don't worry about the long, difficult, arduous journey. We've got way stations and waypoints. We will provide you with clothes, shelter, food, water, maps. We'll provide you with all logistics. We'll get the buses to move you around, and we'll get boats to move you. We'll supply you with dinghies when you get to here, and so on and so forth. So, and in this way, these people are encouraged. Indeed, they're almost dragged into this mass migration, and they're promised things that the people smugglers can't possibly promise. You'll get a free house, which, by the way, quite a number of them do in England. You get a free house, you get this free, everything free, and they think, wow, gee whiz. I mean, why wouldn't you go to a place that's free? Do I have to work? No, you don't have to work. Well, what do I have to do? Nothing. But I don't want to give up my Islamic religion. You don't have to, and so on. So these people are encouraged in every way, every imaginable way. They're encouraged to make that journey, and they help to make it. Now, these people wouldn't cross the desert if they didn't have all this support and all this, buses to take them and all the food. Yeah, they couldn't afford the food and the water and the clothes. And they couldn't do that. Logistically, it wouldn't be possible for these people to do it. So these same NGOs that purport to be, in my view, falsely purport to be charities in the West who get tax exemption and government grants and grants from the United Nations. These people are very, very active in the people movement, and yet they do not face charges. Now, if you want to stop the migrant, which the Western governments don't because they're controlled by the globalists, if you want to stop these mass migrations, it's not hard. You take away charity status from these NGOs, and you say, look, if you guys are implicated in this illegal people movement, illegal people smuggling, helping illegal immigrants move around, then we're going to charge you, and your executives are going to be thrown in prison, and that sort of thing. Now, if they were to do that, then the whole means for moving these people around would simply dry up, and they just wouldn't be able to do this mass people movement at all. Now, if people with skills and with internationally recognised qualifications want to move to the West for a better life, and there, you get some skilled people, not many, but you get some skilled people in these countries who are not part of the corrupt, dictator elite and all this sort of thing, and do genuinely have skills to some. There won't be very many. It'll only be a handful, per dirt poor basket case country. But then if they have those skills and they want to integrate and become part of Western society, then why shouldn't they come in? They should be allowed in, and that should be celebrated and rejoiced. But there's a small number of people who fit in that. The Australian government recently did a paper where out of, I think it was 320 odd thousand immigrants to Australia, less than, somewhere around 40,000 of them are viewed as economically viable. Now, I don't think the economically viable bar is very high. So it probably, in reality, you're probably looking at 15 or 20,000, probably closer to 15,000 that are immediately economically viable. They walk off the boat or the plane or something, and they walk straight into a meaningful job where there is real actual demand for those skills. Then those people should be available to come in through legal channels. But there's nothing wrong with that. But when you've got masses of illiterate black, brown peasants being shepherded and dragged into the West just because they want free, then that doesn't help anyone. It's zero benefit. The globalists get a benefit because they think, well, we're injecting all these new floor sweepers in there. A floor sweeper still needs to eat, still needs to, use transport and drink water and that sort of thing, and these are all things that the globalists increasingly own. So that they've got like a delivery of minimal customers into the globalist sort of monopoly economy. So they get that benefit. But outside of that, it's no benefit to anybody. And white people, the indigenous white people of the West, are the big losers in this whole thing. But again, the NGOs, no one is calling out the NGOs. In fact, the NGOs are the ones running around saying everyone else is bad, when they themselves are the ones that are encouraging these illiterate peasants, third world peasants, to come to the West, and they should be called out for it. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.